Have you ever imagined a world where the Great Wall, that colossal icon of history, wasn't in China, but instead stretched across the savannas and deserts of Africa? What if, instead of protecting the Chinese Empire, it had been built to defend a powerful African kingdom? It sounds crazy, but let's dive into this idea. Today, we're going to rewrite history, traveling through an alternate timeline where the world's greatest wall rises in the heart of Africa. Get ready to discover how this change could have transformed the continent and the entire planet, with unexpected alliances, epic battles, and a civilization we might never have imagined. Let's start by going back to the past. In our real world, the Great Wall of China began to be built around the 3rd century BCE, unified under Emperor Qin Shi Huang to protect the empire from invaders like the Mongols. It was a feat of ingenuity, stretching over 21,000 kilometers with watchtowers and military garrisons. Now, imagine that during the same period, an African kingdom as advanced as China decides to build a similar wall. For our story, let's choose the Kingdom of Aksum in what is now Ethiopia and Eritrea. Why? Aksum was a global trade hub, connecting Africa to the Mediterranean, Arabia, and even India. Rich in gold, incense, and spices, they had the resources and reasons to protect their territory. But why would Aksum need a wall? Let's imagine that, in this timeline, northern Africa faces a constant threat. Nomadic tribes from the Sahara, allied with Mediterranean pirates, begin attacking Aksum's trade routes. These invaders, driven by greed, want to control the trade in gold and ivory. The king of Aksum, Ezana, decides that a wall is the solution. Not just any wall, but a monumental structure, stretching thousands of kilometers from the northern Ethiopian mountains to the Red Sea coast plains. Made of volcanic stone and reinforced with towers, it will be a symbol of power and an impenetrable barrier. Picture the scene. Thousands of workers, under the scorching sun, carry black stone blocks while Aksumite engineers, with their precise calculations, align the wall to follow the rugged terrain. In nearby villages, children run to watch the construction, while merchants tell stories of how the wall will protect their caravans. The Great Wall of Africa isn't just a defense. It's a project that unites the kingdom, giving the people a sense of pride and purpose. Have you ever thought about how a project like this can change a people's identity? It's as if every stone laid is a brick in the nation's soul. Now, let's fast forward a few decades. The wall is complete, and Aksum is transformed. With its trade routes secure, the kingdom becomes even wealthier. Caravans loaded with gold, ivory, and incense cross the desert without fear, while Aksumite ships dominate the Red Sea. The wall doesn't just protect, it attracts allies. Neighboring kingdoms, like Nubia and Himyar in Arabia, form pacts with Aksum, creating a trade network that rivals Rome and Persia. Imagine the port of Agilis on the Aksumite coast bustling with dark-skinned merchants, their eyes gleaming, trading with Greeks, Arabs, and even Indians. The wall, visible in the distance, is a constant reminder of Aksum's power. But not everything is peaceful. The wall also attracts envy. Let's imagine a major invasion around the 4th century CE Saharan tribes, united under a charismatic leader named Amr, decide to challenge Aksum. They cross the desert with camels and rudimentary weapons, but they are numerous, like a sandstorm. The battle takes place in the shadow of the wall. Aksumite soldiers, armed with spears and leather shields, defend the towers, while archers fire flaming arrows. The scene is chaotic. Shouts echo, dust rises, and the sun reflects off the wall's dark stones. Amr, cunning, tries to scale the wall at night, but the Aksumites, with their fire signals, are ready. The invasion fails, and the wall proves its worth. What do you think happens when a kingdom feels invincible? Sometimes it looks outward. With the wall ensuring safety, Aksum begins to expand its territory. In this timeline, they conquer parts of southern Arabia and even territories in present-day Sudan. The wall becomes the heart of an African empire, a center of innovation. Imagine schools of mathematics and astronomy emerging in Aksum, while scribes develop a unique writing system, ge'ez, that spreads across the continent. The wall isn't just stone. It's a catalyst, transforming Aksum into a superpower. Now, let's take a bigger leap to the 7th century. In the real world, Islam emerges in Arabia and spreads rapidly. In our timeline, the wall changes this dynamic. Aksum, now a fortified empire, negotiates with the early caliphates but maintains its independence and its Christian faith, adopted in the 4th century. The wall prevents Muslim armies from advancing into East Africa, creating a balance of power. Imagine a diplomatic meeting. Arab emissaries in white robes arrive in Aksum and are awestruck by the wall, so tall it seems to touch the clouds. They offer alliances, and Aksum accepts but never bows. This cultural exchange enriches both sides, with Aksum adopting ogival arches in architecture and the Arabs learning Aksumite irrigation techniques. Now, think about the global impact. With Aksum as a stable empire, African trade flourishes. Gold and spices from the African interior reach Europe and Asia in unprecedented quantities. This accelerates the development of Mediterranean cities, but also creates rivalries. Rome, already in decline, tries to cozy up to Aksum, sending emissaries with gifts of glass and wine. Meanwhile, the Persians, feeling threatened, plan to invade Arabia to cut off Aksum's roots. The wall, even from so far away, is reshaping the world's power map. Have you ever wondered how a single structure can change the fate of continents? Let's move to the Middle Ages, around the year 1000. Aksum, now called the Ethiopian Empire, is a global powerhouse. The wall, still standing, is a pilgrimage site, like an African Taj Mahal. Travelers from across Africa and beyond come to see it, leaving inscriptions on the stones. But the wall also faces challenges. The climate is changing, and the desert is advancing, making agriculture difficult. The empire must innovate, building aqueducts and reservoirs inspired by Rahman and Arab techniques. The wall, once a defense, is now a symbol of resilience, inspiring the people to overcome crises. And what about the age of exploration in the 5th-10th century? In our timeline, Europeans, like the Portuguese, arrive in Africa but find a very different continent. The Ethiopian Empire, strengthened by the wall, is a maritime power, with fleets sailing to India and China. When Vasco da Gama lands on the African coast, he doesn't encounter disorganized tribes, but an empire that negotiates as an equal. Imagine the shock of the Portuguese when they see the wall, its towers covered in moss, still imposing after 1,000 years. Instead of colonizing, the Europeans make trade agreements, and Africa avoids much of the exploitation that marked our real history. Now, pause for a moment. What would the world be like today if Africa had been the center of such a powerful empire? Perhaps the Renaissance would have started in Aksum, with artists painting murals on the wall stones. Maybe the Industrial Revolution would have African roots, with steam-powered machines built in Ethiopian cities. Or perhaps the global balance of power would be fairer, with Africa leading innovations in science and technology. Isn't it fascinating to think how a single change can turn history upside down? But not everything would be perfect. An empire so vast would face internal challenges. Power struggles, rebellions from smaller kingdoms, and even the wall's maintenance would be constant issues. Still, the wall would have given Africa a chance to shape its own destiny, resisting invasions and building a unique cultural identity. It will be more than stone. It will be a reminder that history can be rewritten. So, what did you think of this journey? The Great Wall of Africa changed not only Aksum, but the entire world, creating a more united, prosperous, and influential continent. It's an idea that makes us reflect. What if other great works or decisions had changed our past? I want to hear your opinion. What historical event would you like to rewrite? Leave it in the comments, like the video, and subscribe for more stories that will make you rethink the world. Until next time.